Welcome to the Science of Fiction HFY Galaxy Tales. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and tap the notification bell so you never miss a new story from HFY Galaxy Tales. Where humanity always finds a way, the battlefield and the sky was dark with black smoke. The war between humans and the alien race called the Virulins had ended just 2 hours ago. Broken machines, dead bodies and burned trees covered the battlefield on planet Zarana. Sergeant Daniel Ward walked slowly, holding his plasma rifle close. His boots made soft crunching sounds on the glass-like ground. He was checking for survivors or hidden enemies. His face was dirty, his armor scratched and burned. The war was over, but Daniel didn't relax. He had seen too many traps before. Then, he heard something strange. It was not a scream, not a weapon, it was a child crying. Daniel stopped. He looked around. The sound was soft, like a whimper. It was coming from behind a fallen alien tank. Carefully, he moved closer. His eyes scanned the wreckage. There, under a broken metal panel, he saw movement. "Hold your fire," Daniel whispered into his comms. "I see something." Moving in, he put away his rifle and knelt down. Using both hands, he lifted the panel slowly. His eyes widened. A small alien girl lay underneath. Her skin was light green, glowing faintly. Her eyes were large and bright blue, filled with tears. One of her insect-like wings was torn and bleeding. She had cuts on her arms. She couldn't be more than 6 or 7 years old. She looked at him with fear. Her tiny body trembled. She opened her mouth but no scream came. Daniel froze for a second. He had been trained to fight Virulins, trained to shoot. But this child was just a child. Very slowly, he removed his helmet. "It's okay," he said gently. "I'm not going to hurt you." The girl blinked. He took off his jacket and reached out, wrapping her carefully. She didn't fight. She just stared at him, confused and scared. "What are you doing?" came a voice through his radio. "We need to clear the area." "I found a kid," Daniel answered. "An alien kid. Hurt, but alive." "Leave her," the voice said coldly. "Orders are to evacuate. She's not our problem." Daniel looked at the girl again. Her little hand gripped his jacket tightly. Her lips were shaking. "No," he said. "I'm bringing her in." He lifted her into his arms and began walking back toward the human base. The girl was light, but every step felt heavy. Not because of her weight, but because of what he was doing. He was risking his career. Maybe his life. His radio buzzed again. "Daniel, command says leave her. Do you copy?" He turned off the radio. As he crossed the hill, his armor sensors beeped. Enemy sniper. He dropped to the ground and shielded the child. But the shot didn't come. He slowly looked up across the valley. On a distant rock, stood a lone Virulin soldier, female, tall, and wearing gold armor. She held a rifle but didn't fire. She saw the child. Her eyes widened. She slowly lowered her weapon. Then she vanished into the shadows. Daniel stood up and kept moving. By the time he reached the base, medics rushed to him. "What is that?" "One," asked a child. He replied. "She needs help." The doctors looked nervous. "She's Virulon," one whispered. "We're not allowed, she's hurt," Daniel snapped. "That's all that matters." The girl was taken to the med-bay. Later that night, Daniel sat alone. His armor was off. His arms ached. But inside, something else hurt more. The war had changed him, but that child's eyes, they reminded him of peace, of why he once became a soldier to protect the weak. He didn't know who she was. He didn't know what would happen next. But far above the base, in the silent black sky, hundreds of lights appeared. Alien ships, glowing, floating, watching, and on the biggest one of them, stood the Queen. The Queen arrives the next morning. The human base on Zarana was quiet. Too quiet. No gunshots, no shouting, only whispers. Everyone felt that something was coming. Above the base, alien ships floated silently in the sky, like glowing clouds. They didn't attack. They didn't move. They just waited. Inside the command tent, soldiers stood tense, weapons ready, but confused. "They could have bombed us by now," one officer said. "They're not here for war," Daniel Ward said, standing in the corner. "They're here for her." All eyes turned toward the med-bay. The little alien girl was still there, sleeping under a heat blanket. Her wounds were healing. She hadn't spoken a word since Daniel rescued her. Suddenly, the base alarm buzzed. A message had arrived from the alien flagship. "Prepare for the arrival of the Virulon Queen. She is coming in peace. She will speak only to the one who saved her daughter." The base fell silent again. Her daughter, someone whispered. Daniel's heart skipped a beat. The child was the royal heir. An hour later, a circular platform landed just outside the base gates. It was silent, but powerful. Varellan guards in silver armor stepped down first, forming a path. Then she appeared, the Varellan queen. She was tall, nearly 7 feet, with elegant wings that shimmered like diamonds. Her skin was a deep emerald green, her eyes bright gold. She wore royal armor laced with glowing patterns. She moved with grace and power. Daniel stood waiting in front of the gates as she approached. Every human soldier aimed their weapons, but Daniel raised his hand. Stand down, he ordered. The queen stopped just a few steps from him. The wind blew gently through the battlefield ruins. For a moment, no one spoke. Then something no one expected happened. The queen slowly knelt before Daniel. Gasps echoed through the human camp. Even her own guards looked shocked. The queen spoke, her voice soft but strong. You are the one who saved my daughter, she said. I felt her pain across the stars. But I also felt her safety. She was scared, but warm. She was weak, but protected. Daniel swallowed hard. She was just a child. I couldn't leave her. The queen looked up, her golden eyes staring into his. You didn't save an enemy, human. You saved a life. You saved my life. My heart. My blood. Behind her, 2 alien servants brought the little girl forward. She walked slowly, her hand holding a glowing flower. She looked up at Daniel and smiled for the first time. She walked to him and placed the glowing flower in his hand. Daniel knelt down, speechless. The queen stood tall once more. Because of your choice, I offer you one as well, she said. Everyone held their breath. I can give you anything your people desire. Peace, land, technology, power, a place among the stars. Or, she paused, I offer you something greater. Daniel looked at her, unsure. The queen took a slow step forward. Become one of us. Join the royal bloodline. Marry into our family. Stand beside me not just as a hero but as a king. The word struck the entire base like thunder. Soldiers gasped, officers looked at each other. Stunned, Daniel stared at the queen, completely still. Was this real? You want me to marry you? He asked slowly. The queen nodded. I do not offer this lightly. You have proven your heart is strong, your courage unshaken, and your soul kind. You saved my daughter when you had no reason to. You chose love over war. The little girl tugged on Daniel's arm and said her first word. Papa. His heart melted. Later that night, Daniel stood alone outside the base, looking up at the stars. His mind was full. He had fought in 5 wars, seen planets burn, lost friends, buried hope. But now, one kind act had changed everything, and tomorrow, his answer would change to worlds. The human and the crown asterisk. The next morning, the sun rose slowly over the hills of Zervana. A soft breeze moved through the broken trees. The human base was quiet, too quiet. Everyone was waiting. In the center of the base, a large meeting circle had been formed, human officers on one side, Varellan guards on the other. And in the middle, Sergeant Daniel Ward stood alone. He had not slept. His mind was heavy. In front of him stood the Varellan queen. Her eyes were calm. Her voice was soft. Have you made your decision, Daniel Ward? All eyes turned to him. He looked at the queen, then at the little alien girl, holding her mother's hand. She looked at him with those big blue eyes full of hope. Daniel took a deep breath. I am not a king, he said. I'm a soldier. I've fought wars. I've seen pain. I've lost many friends. The queen nodded silently. But yesterday, I saw something different. I saw what peace could look like. He looked around the circle. I don't want more war. I don't want more hate. If my choice can bring peace, even for one child, then I'll do it. He turned to the queen. I accept your offer. The moment was silent. Then the queen stepped forward and held out her hand. Then from this moment on, she said, you are no longer just a soldier. You are a protector of 2 worlds. Daniel took her hand. The Varellan guards knelt in unison. Human soldiers lowered their weapons, and the child ran forward and hugged Daniel tightly. Papa, she whispered. Tears filled Daniel's eyes, but he smiled. Weeks passed. A grand ceremony was held on the royal ship high above the planet. Daniel wore a royal robe lined with ancient Varellan patterns. The queen stood beside him, her head held high. The little girl held both their hands. The galaxy watched. Enemies became guests. Soldiers shared meals. For the first time in years, humans and Virulons stood together without blood, without fear. Some didn't understand. Some were angry. But most were amazed. One human's simple act of kindness had changed everything. Months later, Daniel stood on a balcony in the royal palace, looking down at the peaceful city below. Ships flew calmly between towers. Children played in the gardens. There were no alarms, no battles. The queen joined him. "Do you ever miss your old life?" she asked. He smiled. "Sometimes. But I never had a reason to live back then. Now, I do." The little girl came running into the room, laughing. "Papa, Papa, come see my painting." He lifted her into his arms. "Let's go," he said, "in a galaxy filled with war, hatred, and fear." One human soldier made a different choice. He didn't pick up a weapon. He picked up a child. And that changed everything.